The Ghent Altarpiece is one of the most influential paintings ever made. Finished in 1432, it has been forged, dismantled, stolen, and hunted across centuries by Napoleon and Hitler alike, each one adding to its legend. 12 panels, some of the very first great works ever painted in oil. At its center, a small white lamb stands on an altar, bleeding into a golden cup, while rows of angels kneel around it in adoration. For nearly 500 years, that lamb looked calm, gentle, almost sleepy. Then, in 2019, after 3 years of restorers scraping away old varnish with scalpels, millimeter by millimeter, they finally reached the original paint underneath. And the lamb was gone. In its place was a face. Human eyes, forward-facing, staring directly out of the canvas, straight at you. Someone, 470 years ago, had painted over it on purpose. The question is why? This work is called the Ghent Altarpiece, painted by the brothers Jan and Hubert van Eyck for a cathedral in the Belgian city of Ghent. It is enormous. 12 hinged panels, folding open like a book, painted in a medium almost nobody had mastered before them. Oil. Layered thin, glazed again and again until the colours seemed to glow from somewhere inside the wood itself. Napoleon wanted it. Hitler wanted it badly enough to have it hunted down during the Second World War, hidden deep inside an Austrian salt mine, and recovered only in the final weeks of fighting by the Monuments men. Historians count roughly 13 crimes committed against it. It has been stolen at least 6 times, nearly burned, dismantled, and smuggled across borders. One panel, stolen in the dead of night in 1934, has never been found. The thief left a ransom note and vanished, and the investigating commissioner reportedly wandered off partway through the case to solve a cheese shop robbery instead. But the strangest thing ever done to this painting wasn't stolen from it. It was hidden inside it. The central panel is called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamb, and it is exactly what it sounds like. A lamb stands on an altar at the center of the composition, a small wound in its chest, blood running from it into a golden chalice, a direct echo of Christ on the cross. Around it, angels kneel. Crowds of saints and martyrs gather in a green field beneath a wide, glowing sky. Every detail is rendered with the same obsessive naturalism. Wool, feathers, jewels, skin. And the lamb itself, for as long as anyone could remember, looked the part. Soft, placid, an ordinary animal standing quietly among the worshippers, its face gentle and unremarkable. That was the lamb 500 years of visitors saw. That was the lamb in every photograph, every reproduction, every textbook. Nobody had any reason to think it was anything other than what it appeared to be. That changed in 2012, when Belgium's Royal Institute for Cultural Heritage began the most ambitious restoration the altarpiece had seen since the 1950s. $44 million. The method? Nothing but scalpels, magnification, and time. Restorers, led by Hélène Dubois, spent 3 years removing centuries of yellowed varnish and old overpaint, working millimeter by millimeter across a surface that had not been properly examined in generations. Partway through, they noticed something. The paint they were lifting away wasn't Van Eyck's. It sat on top of it, a separate layer, added long after the brothers were dead, quietly covering whatever was underneath. As they kept working, carefully, patiently, that older surface began to surface again for the first time in centuries. Dubois would later describe what happened next as a shock for everyone involved. For her team, for the church, for the scholars and officials overseeing the project. Because underneath that gentle, familiar lamb, something else had been waiting the entire time. And there it was, not a lamb's face anymore. Forward-facing eyes, close set, unmistakably human. A shorter muzzle than before, flared nostrils, full, almost pink lips, set into an expression that wasn't gentle at all. It stared, directly out of the panel, directly at whoever stood in front of it. When the finished restoration was unveiled and photographs spread online in 2020, people were, in a word, disturbed. The image went viral for exactly the wrong reasons. Mocked, memed, compared to everything except a Lamb of God. Alarmingly humanoid was the phrase that stuck. But here is the part almost nobody expected. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a modern restorer's error or an overzealous scalpel gone too far. This was the original. This is precisely what Jan and Hubert van Eyck painted with their own hands in 1432. The internet was laughing at 600-year-old masterwork, exactly as it was always meant to look. To understand why, you have to remember what the lamb actually represents. It isn't just an animal standing on an altar. It is Christ himself, and in medieval religious art, giving the Lamb of God large, forward-facing, almost human eyes was a known device. Not an accident, and not bad craftsmanship. A choice. Painters wanted the divine to look back, to meet your gaze the moment you knelt before it, so that praying in front of the altarpiece felt less like observing a scene and more like being observed by one. Hélène Dubois herself admitted the effect was intense, a confrontation, not a comfort. That was precisely the reaction the Van Eycks were built to provoke. Which raises the obvious question. If that stare was so deliberate, so theologically loaded, why would anyone want to get rid of it? The answer arrives in 1550. By then, the altarpiece had spent over a century in a working cathedral. Candle smoke, humidity, and handling had dulled the paint and caused it to blister. A second team of artists was brought in, officially, to clean and repair it. Instead, they altered it. The Van Eyck's staring, confrontational lamb was replaced with something softer, a more naturalistic, impassive animal face, better suited to the taste of the 16th century. And they didn't stop there. Conservators later discovered that roughly 70% of the entire altarpiece had been covered by this same overpainting campaign. Small buildings erased behind an added hill, details quietly rewritten throughout the panels. The unsettling, human-eyed lamb that the Van Eycks intended simply vanished, replaced by something more palatable. For the next 470 years, almost nobody knew the difference. Naturally, once the internet finished laughing, the doubt set in. Had the restorers gotten this right? Or had 5 centuries of overpaint been replaced with a guess? In 2020, a study published in the journal Science Advances settled it. Using chemical imaging to map the layers beneath the surface, researchers confirmed that the restored face matched the original brushwork exactly. The same forward-gazing eyes, the same shortened muzzle, present in the Van Eyck's own paint, untouched by later hands. The internet had mocked a 600-year-old masterpiece for looking exactly as its creators intended. The normal lamb, it turned out, was the fake. Today, the restored panels hang back in St. Bavo's Cathedral, sealed behind bulletproof glass, exactly where they've stood for centuries. For nearly 500 years, worshippers knelt before a lamb that had been quietly softened for them. A gaze someone, somewhere, decided was too much to bear. Now it's gone back to what it always was. Human eyes. Forward-facing. Fixed on whoever happens to be standing there. Not a flaw, not an accident of restoration. The exact reaction Jan and Hubert van Eyck built into the paint 6 centuries ago. The lamb was never looking away. We simply weren't allowed to see it looking back.